guys, Pipo here, and today I'm going to be doing a review on this. Oh, wait. No, not this one. Sorry. Wrong one. So, favorite head of all time, the Proton Plus, with a tag. Imagine that. I found one with a tag. Proton Plus. But no, it's not this. It's actually the newest rendition from that series, which has been around for 10 years now, roughly. Yeah, around 10 years now. The Ultra Power from STX. This is the brand spanking new one. I do not have a Super Power Plus or Super Power or a Proton Power 2 or Proton Power to show you the differences of those ones, but you can kind of see some similarities here and there from the original Proton to the now Ultra Power. So just getting right into it, lots of new things going on here. The head has your speed scoop right off the bat. Speed scoop's one of the biggest things that people will notice about in some of the newer STX heads in comparison to old ones. It has the channel lock system where it has the middle hold just like the Surgeon 700 does, which gives it 5 top string holds. Excuse me. But it doesn't have the one in between the middles there. That kind of goes right into what's called the power ramp. Power ramp is more or less how the head returns from its offset, which has what's called a deep offset. We'll get into that in a second, but so from the speed scoop, which protects your top string as well as takes away weight in the scoop area so that you can have less weight in the head, be able to have it move around a little faster in your hands. It doesn't take away, with the plastic getting cut out and everything, it doesn't really take away from the strength of the scoop or anything. It's very stiff, very, very stiff. You really got to work for it to get it to move. But going in from the speed scoop into the what's called the power ramp. Power ramp is the return. So going from the offset, going to the return. This is based off of J-Lay. Basically, this is supposed to bring in the aspect of another sport into lacrosse. So if you look it up, I believe it's Jailai. Either way. If you've ever seen these guys, they play in a indoor court. Loosely, the court reminds me of a racquetball court, but it's a little bigger and it's a lot more violent because, in the sense that you can really get hurt because these guys are launching the ball, which is, I believe, a little bit heavier than a lacrosse ball, in excess of 100 miles an hour pretty much every time that they throw it. Now, just kind of imagine cupping your hand like this, and that's essentially what's going on here with this design as well as the other sport. It's not designed for a mid to high pocket or anything like that. It's designed for more of a mid to low pocket. But the power ramp plays into those designs to where the scoop is closer to the ball when you're scooping at it. So when you have it down at an angle, instead of being further back like some heads are by about maybe a ½ inch or so, with the scoop being technically closer to the ball when you're scooping through, it allows the ball to become more positively controlled by being into the pocket faster, being into the head faster, fractionally. And because of the dynamics of the rest of the head and how it's kind of more or less has to be strung, the ball really hits that ramp, really hits the flat part of the pocket, and goes right into the real body of the pocket. Very positive control, just sucks the ball right up off the ground. Because of the speed scoop, you can pretty much scoop on any surface. I had it on grass, I had it on turf, I've had it on hard floor, wood floor. Ball goes right into the pocket every single time, as long as I'm on target with the scoop, obviously. But so, power ramp is definitely effective. It doesn't really mess with the stringing too much. You will have a slightly on the wide side scoop area, which I think it's about 7 inches across. You know what? We'll measure it right here, right now. So, inside of the scoop is 6.5. Outside of the scoop is almost 7.5. So, somewhat wide scoop area in comparison to your NCAA only heads. But this one is a universal setup. It kind of goes away from how pretty much all the Proton series had one strut. It now kind of moves that one up and adds another one in, where it brings in the design of Enduraform, which is their better, longer lasting in high and low temperature plastic. So if it's really hot, it doesn't get super flexible. If it gets really cold, it doesn't get too brittle. They got rid of the C-channel design for the sidewalls because they didn't really need it if you're using a different type of plastic, as well as probably making the plastic a little bit more durable in general. So no more C-channel. Don't have to get fancy to try and get your knots to lock in. You just string it up. Your sidewall holes, there's about as, I think there's one more sidewall hole than on a Stallion 700, which when I first strung this up, I strung it up almost exactly like how I would string up the Stallion 700. So it can take a pretty solid mid pocket, which is what I have in it. I really wouldn't recommend trying to get it to have a high pocket because of the return, the power ramp, and everything like that. It may be designed for a mid-low pocket, but I've had a lot of people that like high pockets, and the whip that comes from the high pockets really like the release on this, even though the ball sits naturally lower. But so with those sidewall holes, they're pretty much big like how the Stallion 700s are. Maybe not as big, roughly anyway. I really like how they added in another strut for his sidewalls. Makes it a little more dependable, a little stronger. And I mean, I've been beating the crud out of this thing and strung it up a couple different times, and I thought it would warp and everything. Very rigid head. I would probably say that like an LSM, or yeah, an LSM could probably use this, but MIDI attack doesn't matter really who uses it. You're going to be able to effectively use it. Getting in from the sidewalls to the throat. Throat is pretty small, very short, very compact though. As you can see, there's not a whole. It's almost oversimplified. There's a little bit of space cut out in there where you can see the shaft from the backside. It has 2 screw holes, which I'm very happy about. It does not have any sort of throat locking system to where there's plastic on the inside when you put the shaft on it. It is purely 2 screw holes, and then getting into the actual throat here, it has the ball stop, which is pretty good foam. It's got designed in Baltimore, ultra power with a lightning bolt there, and then your 4 bottom holes, which are actually pretty good spacing, whether or not you want to do a trad. It's pretty good size bottom holes. I have not thrown a trad in this yet. I plan to eventually, or if I get another one. But all in all, kind of looking at it at first, I've had a few people say that it seems a little too simplified, but now that everybody's kind of getting a hold of one and stringing it up and messing with it, more and more people are really liking it, and I gotta say it's one of my favorite heads for the 2018 year. I really like this head. Strings up pretty easily. Again, I wouldn't recommend kind of a high pocket or anything like that, just because of once you string this up and you mess with it, I would say don't have any shooters in it at first, but string it up and use it a little bit. Wall ball with it some to see really what it feels like before you really go putting shooters in it, or even thinking that, oh, I put this pocket in all my heads, it'll work just fine like in this one. you might need to mess with it a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to reinvent the wheel or anything, but when I got the head, they said it's a little weird, and we really want to see what people have to say about it, and so on and so forth. And I gotta say that it was a little weird at first. Not much else to say beyond that. I mean, you don't need a super tight channel to really get it to be effective or anything like that. Just the overall design concepts with the deep offset where it comes down just a slightly lower, deeper than most heads would from the shafts. I guess you could say running parallel with the shaft. The return makes it almost, the scoop almost as far forward as the very front of the throat. Just overall, the designs of this head, the concepts, will probably mess with what your preconceived notions of what a mid-low pocket should be doing. So, Ultra Power from STX, get you one, try it out. It's definitely kind of thrown a wrench in my perceptions of how a head should be, and I can't wait to see what more people think about it, and pretty much where STX goes from here now that they've brought another proton power to the series. I mean, I'm fingers crossed for a new Professor or a new Excalibur head. I would really like another Excalibur for the series, even though the X10 works pretty much just fine. But I would really like to see where they go from this and beyond. So, Ultra Power from STX, get you one. I'll check you guys later.